Hi everyone, coming to you from Los Angeles, California, the home of the Dance Art and Life podcast. I'm your host, Danya the Gypsy, and this is a judgment-free zone. I'm looking for stories of dancers, musicians, and artists of all walks of life, their struggles, hard work, highs and lows of their careers, but most of all, the life lessons they've learned following their passion. Today's guest is United States American Smooth Vice Champion, United States American Smooth Finalist, Blackpool American Smooth Finalist, 3 times United States Amateur American Smooth Champion. And he told me when he started dancing, he was just a kid and he didn't want to give me any results because he said, I was just a kid. Please welcome Max Sinitsa. How you doing, Max?
Great.
Thank you for coming.
Great. Thank you for having me.
How you doing otherwise than dancing? And you told me you have a cigar lounge, which I'm looking forward to.
I do. I appreciate the whole setup because that's generally what my house looks like.
Got it.
So this whole setup is my cup of tea.
Your cup of tea.
Cup of coffee.
Your taste. Cup of coffee, yes. So usually I have whiskey on my podcast, but it's 10 a.m. So let's
but
just
they
have
don't
coffee.
know that. So,
yeah. But still. All right. So let's just jump into your beginnings. Where were you born?
I was born in Kiev, Ukraine. Both parents are dancers, not ballroom. Mom was a ballerina at in the theater, and my dad was more of a jazz type of stuff.
Really?
So, but neither one did ballroom. They put me into an after-school program for 3 hours. So it would be an hour of Latin, an hour of ballroom, and an hour of ballet. And I did that like every day.
Well, you skip into the dancing part. I want to know, like, you were born and then, you know.
Oh, well, first I was an embryo.
Okay, not that far in the beginning.
Yeah, okay.
No, so you were born in Kiev. You have any sisters, brothers?
No, I'm the only child. I have a half brother because, he's my older brother. We're fairly close. His name is Alex, and he makes a lot of the suits and a lot of the clothing in our business. So
okay.
So
is he in US?
Yeah, he's 18 years older than me. He just comes from a different a marriage. So the moms are different, but our dads are the same.
Gotcha.
So I was born. He went to the army. So that was the difference. 18 years old.
Got it.
I grew up basically as the only child in the family, and I think we grew up on the, I don't want to say, the more comfortable side, I would say.
Yeah.
We had minimal things, but from what I saw from my friends, I had more than some of the other ones. And so the artists and the dancers back then in the Soviet Union, when I was growing up, were well off, meaning they were paid well, and they were respected quite highly. So my father and my mom, being both dancers or artists or entertainers, they did fairly well.
Wow. So artists in Soviet Union were respected and did better than the average.
I think, surprisingly, now that I'm an adult and I know that just because you're an artist doesn't mean you can pay rent that month, you know? And you can be an amazing artist and you can't pay rent that month. And usually that's how it is. But from when I look back now at what they had, they were fine. Meaning, by today's standards.
Did they dance in theater or did they have shows? Did they what was the
Mom was in theater, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, everyone went to the theater. That was the thing to do with the big shubas. And the whole art field, the different plays. So she was always Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was always with her at the theater. So while she was performing, I was, I had kid roles. I had
backstage.
I was backstage
you were
child.
performing as well.
I had some child roles. Some were speaking, some were non-speaking, and then if that play didn't have me perform, then I would just be I was the backstage kid. I was, basically I knew all the exits and all the weird doors. in the theater, and I would just be, you know, running around maybe with another kid whose parents were also a dancer, you know. So.
That's amazing, man.
So yeah, I was always around stage and theater and performance.
How old were you when you first time came to the theater?
I was probably before I can remember. Meaning like 3 or 4 probably. She had me there with her, probably babysat by some other dancers or maybe you know, older women that were just, you know, helping out
with costumes and stuff.
Yeah. And then eventually by 8 or 9, I clearly remember waiting in the dressing rooms. I knew when my mom was finished, then we would take the subway home. And then I'd be home by like 11 p.m. after.
How do you think it impacted you in terms of choosing your profession?
I'm not sure if it was that such a conscious choice. I think the profession chose me. I tried not to choose it for a little bit because I went to college here and I did some normal things. I played soccer quite seriously. That might have been an avenue, but somehow I got dragged back in.
Okay, I want to go into it because I already feel it's interesting. So, at what age? Okay, did you start ballroom in Ukraine? You said
at 7 years old.
7 years old.
I started Latin, ballroom
and ballet.
That was
so. How long you were dancing in Ukraine?
Until 12.
And then you moved to US.
Then we moved to LA
with your parents.
My parents, correct.
Did they have some job offerings, or they just
nothing? We had a relative who was in San Francisco, and that was the only connection we had. It was actually my dad's brother, so it was my uncle.
Okay,
so it was a close relative, and we had that, but ultimately no. They were artists and they were dancers, and when they arrived.
It was zero.
It was like find a new trade, and my dad was in his 50s because he had me when he was 44.
Wow!
So he was in his 50s. My mom was 11 years younger, so she was in early 40s. So they were not. What I'm saying is they were not 20 years old arriving in LA.
Opportunities. Blah, blah, blah.
And they had no English language because it wasn't taught. Now, I think. Kids in Ukraine or Russia, I mean, they speak English no matter what.
Well, because YouTube and internet and
of course.
It's globalized.
I was born in 1981, man. I had that phone.
Yeah,
I know. And we did fine. So
VHS, the cassettes with the pencil.
I would love to just put right now, just to push a VHS into a VCR. That was like my favorite feeling when it just went in.
Yeah.
Now I just can't do it anymore. But whatever.
Don't they have it like in a vintage store?
They have it. They have it. But I mean,
you should have one in your cigar lounge.
Note taken.
Yeah. It's like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the vinyl and then VHS.
Vinyl I have, so we just need to do a bit more 80s vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to the cigar smoking and chatting.
We can do the second part of this podcast
let's do
in my cigar lounge.
With some other dancers, and we have a group episode, some special thing.
Done.
Perfect.
Look forward to that one.
Perfect. Awesome.
So... Yeah, we arrived. I'm 12. I go to school. I go to junior high school.
But you didn't dance right away when you came?
No, I had no partner. So I came in. We realized that the dancing was privatized. It was because whether you knew this or not, but when I did the after school program, the government paid for it.
Yeah.
I didn't pay anything.
Many dancers.
It was an athletic center for kids, where you had swimming, karate, another room was dancing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was you didn't leave that room for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And you were happy about it.
Yeah.
So here, all of a sudden, private lessons cost money. Nobody was giving group classes because it was not a big thing.
Yeah.
Competitions like what? Costumes. So.
Got it. So did you compete in Ukraine?
Yeah. I competed from 7 to 12.
So you were full in the
full 10
scene.
dance. Yeah. Yeah. Full 10 dancer. Latin was better than ballroom actually. and I was dancing with a girl, with a daughter of a very prominent coach. So
that helped.
I mean, it was one of those situations. You know?
It always does, though.
Yeah,
I have a feeling like you just have like super advantage when you have somebody dancing with you that has parent or
yeah, you can't really deny the advantage, whether it's a political. Some people have parents who are in government, you know, and things like that. I'm sure that you know,
especially in USSR.
Correct.
At that time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so you came here, 12 years old. You just went to school. You didn't dance. For how long you didn't dance?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
So you had a break from 12 to 17.
Correct.
And then, so what happened? You stayed the whole time in LA?
I'm still in LA. It's been 1993 is when I landed.
Yeah.
And we're in 2023.
Yeah.
So this June, it will be 30 years that I'm in LA.
Congrats.
Thank you.
What June?
18th.
18.
Yeah, it's my birthday, and it is the day I landed.
Wait. 18th of June is your birthday?
Yeah.
Mine is 15. Fellow Gemini.
Right? Now there's 4 people in this room.
Exactly. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so 17, and then what happened? Like you had the urge to come back, or you just fell into it, as you said?
Come back, actually. I was heavily into playing soccer. I was doing it for my high school. Then colleges started to call and give me scholarships. So I get 2 full scholarships to UC Santa Barbara and UC Santa Cruz, and I declined both.
Because?
Prior to this, unfortunately, my mom passed away shortly after we got to the States. She already had cancer. We did not know about it. But because I'm so close to Chernobyl, Kiev was so close, we have a feeling that what happened in 1986 had some sort of a factor.
You went to Slovakia, they explained, like the cloud went up.
Oh,
and then
cloud
down
went to Sweden, from what I know. I mean, it was, and they were like, no, it's okay. Everything's fine. You could stay there, as usual. So she's diagnosed with cancer. 6 months later, she's gone. So my dad is alone with me, and I didn't want to leave.
And how old you were? 12?
I was, she passes away 6 months after we arrive. I'm 12. I go to junior high school. He tries to make ends meet. No English, doing, lots of different works and stuff. Did
you work besides school
I worked at 15. So I worked for the El Capitan Theater on Hollywood Boulevard. That was my first job. Well, movie theater.
Still theater.
Yeah. Yeah, so you could say that. So my first job, $5.50 an hour. I work for El Capitan Theater where they play Disney movies. I'm an usher. I sell popcorn. I wash the popcorn machine at the end of the night.
Wow.
8-hour shift was $40. Then they took taxes.
After school.
Yeah.
In the evenings.
Yeah. So I would do the evening shift. And I would have some gas money and just, I don't know, just enough to just, do what I needed to do or whatever.
Yeah.
So, we didn't have that. To conclude, we didn't have at that point any longer what we felt we had back in Ukraine. Mom was gone. We're struggling, whatever. And then I get these scholarships, and I decline because I don't want to leave my dad. Because once I go away to school, I have to stay. I have to board.
So you were what age you got the scholarships?
I'm 17 at this point.
Okay, got it.
I'm 17. I'm senior in high school. I play on a club team. I play on a state team for boys under 17. So I probably would make the national team if I didn't switch. So I play seriously, and the colleges want me into the colleges. So when my teachers in high school found out that I declined a full scholarship to UC Santa Cruz and Santa Barbara, they were like, "You're an idiot." And I'm like, "Yeah, I get it." But I'm also thinking about my father.
Yeah.
Not having anyone and all that. So I stay in LA.
He's still alive?
Yeah. No, my dad passed away 5 years ago at this point. So he passed away way later than my mom. But he was in his late 70s. So I end up going to Santa Monica College, a community college. And I started majoring in psychology because I'm interested in sports psychology. Because I have part of me is sports, part of me is interested in all this
artistic stuff.
Artistic, right? So I'm like, okay, let me see if I can major. I can work with athletes, I can work with dancers, but we can do the mental side of it. So anyway, I go into that, and then my brother immigrates to LA.
And he was doing suits and dance clothes forever.
He was doing suits, regular suits, and leather jackets. I don't know if you remember, but the puffy leather jackets back in the 80s and 90s were very popular.
Yeah.
And so that's what he made. So he used to work with leather a lot. So he was always a bespoke type of suit guy.
Yeah.
Just never a dance thing where, you know, the padding's different, the arms are different. So they immigrate. He has a daughter who is 4 years younger than me.
Lesia.
Correct. Now it clicks.
I'm connecting the dots.
So Lesia is my niece. She's 4 years younger. She's my brother's daughter.
Yeah.
They arrive. She also was dancing in Kiev, but now she doesn't have a partner. And she goes, look, I know you're into soccer and you're already in college, but if you can help me out on lessons while I have private lessons. If you can just stand in and help me out.
Yeah.
And here I am sitting before you today, retired from competitive ballroom dancing, God knows how many years later.
Yeah.
But that's what happened.
How long you danced with Lesia?
With Lesia, I danced twice. Meaning 2 separate occasions. I danced...
Only?
No, I mean like 2 long occasions.
Got it.
I danced for 4 years as an amateur, and we won the American Smooth title 3 times. And then I believe she got married, and we stopped because she moved to Hong Kong. So we stopped for 4 years.
A Chinese guy?
No, English guy. British guy. But he was in Hong Kong at the time because he couldn't get...
Okay. How do you get to know an English guy in Hong Kong while in LA?
I mean, we traveled to England when we had lessons, Lesia and I. So when we went to London, we would spend weeks at a time there having lessons. And then, of course, we stayed with friends and, you know, friends of friends and all that. Anyway, she was involved with this guy, and she ended up moving to Hong Kong and being engaged. So we had to stop. So that's 4 years later. That's 4 years of dancing together. Yeah. And for another 4 years.
Turn it so it's...
For another 4 years...
So for 4 years she was dancing in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And you had another partner here?
I did. I was married to my partner. And we danced together as amateurs.
Who was it? Can I know?
Yeah, her name was Leela.
Wait. Leela VVV
Weinert. Yes.
I believe when I just came I was looking for a partner.
Yeah.
And I was writing with her. She wrote a book or something, no?
Maybe.
I don't know.
On nutrition?
I don't know, something.
Okay. She was into nutrition heavily, and I think she's got fully certified.
Yeah, I believe I was just writing with her about possible tryout.
Right.
Yeah.
See? Look how connected we are.
Man.
As you find out, right?
That's amazing. So you were married to her?
Well, yeah, we were married, and we danced as amateurs.
How old were you?
I was in my I was 24, 25, mid-20s.
Yeah.
And then...
How long you were together?
We were together in total probably for 3.5 or 4 years. 2 of which I think we were married.
Got it.
And then we separated, and of course we tried dancing together, and that just never
after
works.
Separation.
Yeah, that's
another whole other podcast about dancing together and being together and being separated. Oh.
I don't know why I didn't become a therapist for dance couples. I would make so much more money.
Well, listen, there's still time.
I know.
So after a certain period of time, you know.
Yeah, maybe when I'm tired of moving my buns around the room.
Exactly, yeah.
I'll just, do this and get paid twice as much.
Exactly. 3 times.
Right. So
and you studied psychology.
I did. I would have to finish my studying because I got an AA degree, an associate degree. I never got a bachelor's nor a master's because I started going to England to Blackpool. I'm missing class.
Yeah.
My teachers were like, "You're not gonna make it." I'm like, "Well,
I'm
done.
not going to."
I'm not going to. So I had to choose, and I chose.
Yeah.
And anyway, so separation.
Okay, before we continue.
Yeah.
So she came to LA. She asked you, you want to dance, blah, 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 right?
Leela?
No. Lesia.
Lesia, yes. Lesia moved to LA and asked for me to stand in as a partner.
As a help out while she had lessons with some coaches.
Correct.
And standard or smooth right away?
Both. That's what got me into smooth because we don't have smooth in Europe.
Yeah.
So I was
now, yes, but before
correct.
It was like...
So it was 10 dancer. You didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
So yes. So that's how I got introduced to smooth at about 17.
Wow.
With ballroom background. So that was a nice...
That's a good basis.
That's actually a rare thing. If you look at pro dancers now, there's very few people in the entire business that were amateur smooth dancers who then later on became pro and became prominent. Like there's very few, like Jamie and Travis.
Yeah.
Because the BYU turns out, good couples in that sense. But most people come from another country. They're already 10 dancers. And
Latin standard mix gives you smooth.
Yep. But it's rare these days that you see somebody progress. I mean, my first coach in smooth was David Hamilton in late 1990s, and he's still my coach. I mean, so it's been a while.
Amazing. So you stopped with Layla.
Yes.
And then Lisa came back, or it didn't work out in Hong Kong?
No, exactly. So the weird part is that it didn't work out at the same time. We didn't talk about it with her. I never chatted with her, but we get reconnected. She comes back.
So you weren't in contact with her at all while in Hong Kong?
Correct. It was just so I go through a separation as she returns from Hong Kong without a ring. And all that.
So she never got married, or?
No, she did. I think she did because I think paperwork was connected to it. I think she did. I think he couldn't come over at the end of the day. Paperwork wouldn't go through. And she didn't want to live in Hong Kong. So she was there for 4 years with the intention of coming over, but that never happened. And so she pulled the plug on her side of it. So we both meet back in LA. She's home with her family. I'm like all depressed from my situation.
It didn't work out.
And I'm 25 and I'm like, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me. You know what I mean?
I had the same.
I'm like, this is horrible. This is
the worst.
I will never be the same again.
Yes, and I'm 25 and my career is over.
Everything's over.
Yeah.
I will be single for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to
Geminis.
At that point, right? At that point, I'm like, maybe I should play for the other team. I don't know, whatever.
What?
You know what I mean? No,
you considered
not internally, but as a logical, like as a thought.
I'm my God, really? Come on.
Listen,
being in LA,
I would have been just fine, but I'm just like, maybe I should. It's like sorbet, just try it.
Yeah.
So,
but you did try it?
No, I didn't.
You stopped yourself?
No.
Or some lady?
No, I just
saved you.
No, come here. No, not you.
You stay in this corner.
In this game, in this team.
Yeah.
No, I never did. No regrets, but just never did. So we started dancing together as professionals.
Okay. So you entered the standard.
Standard.
Not smooth.
No. I wasn't dancing smooth after Lesia anymore. So when I danced with Leela, it was ballroom.
Yeah.
And then we started dancing ballroom again with Lesia as professionals. It was nice for people to see us come back together because they remembered us as amateurs.
Yeah.
So it was a nice reunion. We danced for 2 or 3 years together. And then we separated again. And this time not for, that we were getting married again or anything like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was just we were going a little bit in two different directions. I wanted to pursue it further, from what I remember, and Alessia was kind of not sure about it. And she still danced after that with her current husband, Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis.
So she still danced a little bit after that, and quite successful.
So when you turned professionals, what were the results like? You were finalists, right?
We won the Rising Star Ballroom in the States, and we won the Open to the World and the Closed. So we made the semi in the Open Pro Ballroom and stayed in the semi for the entire 2-3 years, because at the time you had like Victor was up there, Arunas. You had to make the final was like you were you gotta you were awesome.
Kick ass.
Yeah. So a lot of people sat in the semi, hopefully inching one spot. If somebody got diarrhea. You made that final.
Got it.
Anyway, so we sat. It was 9th place, 10th place, 9th place, 8th place sometimes, but never quite making a major final.
Yeah, got it.
So then,
but still, I mean, pretty good, man.
Yeah, it was. I was in my 30s then. So by this point, I'm in my late 20s to early 30s.
Yeah.
And then we split again. And then,
but just because you wanted to kind of go into it further or deeper, or
I think I was on a roll, and I was happy to be back in ballroom. I was excited. I think if we wanted to really do serious stuff, we'd have to go to England again as professionals.
Yeah.
So money, time, the whole thing. If you're not going to do it all the way, then
of course
it's a bit of a waste, actually.
Yeah.
So we separated, and then I had a tryout with Yulia Baranovsky.
I heard the name.
That was the girl I ended up dancing with in Smooth again, because she was smooth. 100% American smooth.
Yeah.
So I had a few tryouts, a few European girls, ballroom. I was like, ballroom, and then it just kept not working out location-wise, this and that. And then I had a tryout with Yulia, knowing that she was smooth. And I was like, whatever at this point. Let's
You just wanted to stay in the...
Yeah, I didn't want to take a long break because I know that when you take too long of a break, you yourself get deflated, people forget you.
Of course.
So I was like, all right, how soon can I just be out there? And she was doing smooth. And then I called David Hamilton, a long coach of mine, and I said, look, I mean...
This is a situation.
This is the situation. I think I'm coming back to smooth as a pro now.
Yeah.
And the last time I did it was, when I was...
24 or something.
Yeah. Way before Lila.
Oh, yeah, right.
18, 19, 20 when we were doing amateur with Lessa. And David's like, absolutely not. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're already United States Rising Star Standard champion. Blah, blah, blah. You're a semi-finalist. I mean, if you get a good girl, you're right back in it.
Yeah.
To do another style was like to him. So I thought about it, and I still did it. And we went to camps, and we basically made again another 3 or 4 year partnership. Yulia was a couple of years older than me, so what ended up happening is we ended up making a final in the pro smooth, and we were 4th on a certain night. But we were in the final, and she ended up retiring. Because she was...
Why? Because she wanted kids, or...
she wanted kids.
Family.
She didn't want kids at the time. She ended up having a kid. But it was just, I think, she was, I believe, 39 when she retired. And for I think, a girl that may want kids, it's like, you're pushing it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
So I know that she just was drained from all the work that we did, and we did it at 100 miles an hour. You do 25 comps a year. Yeah. So she was just like I'm drained. And she paints now. She, she's an artist, and she teaches a little bit and judges, but mainly she loves to just have a gallery and all that stuff.
Got it.
Anyway, so that's Yulia.
Do you have some pictures in your garage?
I have no dancing pictures in my house.
No, not dancing pictures. Julia's pictures.
Oh
Creative pictures.
no! I have it in the house.
You have it
in the
house.
garage. My entire garage is all tin signs. Like metal tin signs from 1940s and 50s with pinup girls and like funny stuff on the wall.
I gotta go.
A lot of rude stuff and a lot of like inappropriate stuff.
After your camp, we'll talk about Max's camp, but after the camp,
I'm telling you, we have to do the second set.
Yeah. There,
I have this. I have these chairs. So
this chairs.
I have an aviator chair that's I think more like this. Yeah. So we have very similar taste. Except Gemini. I don't look like a gypsy, but doesn't mean internally I'm not.
Yeah.
I probably internally wish I did half the things that he actually did do.
Oh, stop it.
So.
All right. So. Julia's done.
Yeah.
Retired.
And then I'm without a partner again. And I'm a U.S. finalist, and I'm 35 at this point. So I'm like...
Story of my life.
I'm like 35. I either do this one more time or I'm not. Mm-hmm. And I'm like full on work, teaching, family.
How long was the break between Julia and then Tatiana, was it?
Yes.
How long was the break?
Not long.
And Tatiana was full Latin, right?
Tendance. Amateur tendance. Not pro.
Oh, she wasn't pro.
Not at the time.
So she came... When did she come to U.S.?
She came very shortly before we started dancing. Probably within a year. Like under a year. She was fresh from Moldova. Yeah. She was quite successful there.
She was dancing with Christian.
She was dancing with Christian for 11 years, I believe.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Christian told me, and I'm like, what?
It's like 11 years.
So
as
interconnected.
Kids, they would do junior and all that stuff, and they were quite successful.
Yeah. Christian told me.
So she came to Jersey, and she was working at Giampiero's studio in New Jersey. And so the way that happened, I'm in between partners, and Eugene Katzevman calls me, and he goes, dude, I know
Hi, Eugene.
Yeah, shout out. What was difficult for me at the time is actually that's when my dad passed away.
Oh, fuck.
When I finished, and Eugene calls me, says, "Look, I know you're not looking right now during this time. I know it's tough." He said, "But there is a girl in Jersey. She does not do smooth, but you have to check this out. I think it could be something really cool." I'm like,
and it was cool, man.
Well, I get a video of her doing a show dance, smooth, but just a show dance, turning this and that, not really knowing at all what the hell's going on. Just, doing her best with it.
Just going for it.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I looked at it, I'm like, okay, I don't really want a project at 35, but this doesn't look like it's gonna be one. It's gonna have to be like brought up to speed, but I don't think it's going to take that long. So I go to Jersey at Empire Dance Sport Championships. We have a tryout in the practice room, and then we have a couple more tryouts, obviously.
Did she came to LA then? Or?
Yeah, she came to LA. I went to Jersey again, so did about 3 different occasions, sent some videos to coaches. And
did you have a tryout with coach as well, or just alone?
No, it was we wanted to put some stuff together, just mess around. We didn't want to have anyone intervene yet.
How long were the periods? Like few days?
3 days each, probably 2 to 3 days. I'd fly for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leave Sunday.
And then on the floor 8 hours.
Oh, dude, those were long days.
Yeah.
Because we had nothing else to do. I mean, She cleared her day. I didn't really have work when I arrived there. I didn't really want to work, but anyway, that means that you're doing 4 and 5 hours, then you go have lunch, and then you do another 3-4 hours. And we were just fooling around with choreography, and ironically, the first foxtrot that we did on a tryout is the last foxtrot that we did when we retired. I mean, it was the same foxtrot. So for couples that are always bitching about that they don't like their choreography, and they come to me or to other people and they're like, you got to change our waltz. I'm like, maybe we should change something else and not your choreography.
Yeah.
So our foxtrot stayed the same it doesn't look the same, but it was exactly the same figures.
Yeah.
So that stuck. And what ended up happening is we started competing in November after having a tryout in August.
Okay, so you had three tryouts.
Yeah.
Now, did you talk with her about the organization? Obviously, she was in Jersey, so she needed to move to LA.
Yeah, so...
How was that like?
So I already experienced that with Yulia because Yulia was in New York.
Yeah.
And for about 8 months, we went back and forth.
Oh, shit.
I did that with Yulia, and then eventually Yulia moved to LA, and that became a lot easier.
Yeah.
Then the same thing started with Tatiana. She was in Jersey, and it took about 9 to 10 months for her to move.
To organize and to...
I also understand that she just arrived to Jersey, and she already had something there. You know, she had some work.
Little base.
She was working for the studio, and then this guy comes out of LA. Hey, I'm Max Sinitsa, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I don't know who you are.
Don't bother me.
Yeah. And so it was hard for her, I think, to make a decision. And she was like 20. She was like 20 years old. You know what I mean? She was all alone in the States. So she couldn't really put her foot down on it yet. And I understood that. So I went back and forth almost every weekend. I went more to Jersey than her. I think I could afford it. I would.
Well, you were established at that point. You know,
I was established.
So
I had pro-am, so I was teaching and blah, blah, blah. But, dude, those were... I miss and I don't miss that schedule because...
Did you take red eye all the time?
Thursday red eye, that is the most psychotic flight ever because...
I do that from Hawaii.
You know what I'm talking about?
When I'm teaching in Hawaii, I go Monday night, arriving Tuesday morning, straight to teaching. Exactly. It's a killer, man.
Exactly.
It's a killer.
And you learn to do it. You learn to psych yourself up. But, dude, that LA to New York flight with, you know, a bunch of, you know, there's artists and singers flying and business people, and you're just standing there at 11:50 p.m. in LAX. You're just falling asleep, by the gate. And I did that almost every Thursday night. So I would work all week. Thursday night I'd fly. Friday morning, 6 a.m. Hello, welcome to New York Airport. Straight to the studio, Starbucks, 8 hours.
Caffeinated.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then Sunday I would take the latest flight out of New York. Or worse, take a Monday 6 a.m. flight. Arrive at home at 9 a.m.
Exactly.
And go to the studio. And I did that. And I think I lost like 10 years of my life during that period.
Yep.
Literally. Like
I did that when I had a girl in Russia, Kaliningrad. I flew night flights from Zurich to Moscow, 3 hours, and then from Moscow to Kaliningrad. And I arrived there like 10 a.m., whatever, and straight to the studio. The kids already ready for the lessons.
Yeah.
You know, I was like,
That's mental.
And still learning Russian. This was so funny.
That's mental.
Yeah.
It's mental.
It was awesome, though.
I think speaking of mental, it's we're not normal. We do. Yeah, I'm talking about dancers, artists. You know what I mean? But
we're crazy.
You have to be a bit mental to even find this serious enough to. I mean, the amount of money we spend.
Yeah.
For what? For a good feeling? For a reputation? I mean, you can't justify it.
This is a good theme for the second podcast, In Your Home.
Of course.
I love it, man. I'm looking forward to it. So you did that, then she finally decided to... Did you push her to it or kind of,
No,
she decide?
8 months later, I did. We had to have a conversation. I was like, look, this is fun and all.
Yeah.
I love flying. I really do. And at this point, I'm 1K on United because of this, okay?
Got it.
You know? I fly first class usually at this point because I fly a lot. But at some point, the partnership kind of plateaued for a little bit. You know, you just do the same thing.
So the first competitions that I saw you were actually doing that. That's crazy.
You saw me in the Hollywood was the first comp in November or the end of October, and she didn't move until the following September, which is USDC.
Listen, what you created with her in Smooth, man, fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Fucking awesome. It's like it was different.
Yeah.
Very different.
That's what I heard.
And it's like, I don't know how much influence you had, probably a lot because she didn't dance smooth.
Right.
But what she put out in smooth, and when I think about the beginnings when I saw you, I already was like, oh shit, this is cool.
Yeah.
Right? But then as the progress went, right, I'm like,
well,
like,
I think I had very little to do with her development because I didn't want to have a project. I think a lot of guys, when they get a girl who's not as experienced, they mold her. I get it, but then the girl becomes a bit. It's about pleasing. The relationship is wrong. I wanted her to fire in all directions, and then hopefully I would just like position her where I wanted her to fire. Like, okay, you're shooting that way, and then you're shooting that way. That's it. I didn't want to.
Would you say was it your experience throughout on changing partners and or was it coaches?
My experience with women,
not dance wise.
In general. I just think that they have to have a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
In a relationship.
Yeah.
Which is another podcast.
That's oh shit. Lead and date them and all this shit coming up.
That's right.
To be continued
100%
in the next podcast. So you had so did you so the coaches were involved in her development and you didn't want to interfere in terms of because you didn't want to have a project first of all, and the second
didn't want to make her a project. I didn't want her to I wanted her to be as original as she wanted to be, and I think that's what you're referring to. The awesome part or the different part came from the fact that I had to adjust in a good way to how I moved with somebody like her, and she would move the way she moves, and I would just shadow that and make sure that I participate.
Got it.
So I moved differently with Yulia, than I did with Tatiana. She was smaller and quicker and just a very different body type. Than Yulia. Yulia was much more fluid, let's say, and a bit slower, but in a good way. She was also, a lot of emotional content. Tatiana as well, but different kind of emotion. You had a 21-year-old girl who was like,
let's go.
Where do I? Where's the stage? So you had a different energy about it, and I was in my mid-30s, so I was fairly seasoned. She was early 20s, so we're talking a little more than 11-year difference. And I thought it was great that that's what it was. And Eugene was always our main person that we would confine in. And we always kept a small team of people. In the beginning, I never wanted everyone to have hands-on her. Because I think that a lot of people would want to mold her into something they thought smooth should be.
Got it.
Which I find that's still happening today. That we don't even know, I think, what smooth should be. Maybe it should be whatever you want it to be. As long as you abide by some rules of ballroom, because, a waltz is a waltz and a tango is a tango.
Exactly, yeah.
If you go outside of that, not my cup of tea. I mean, I guess you can do anything you want.
That's another podcast.
Yeah. We branch out.
Exactly. Amazing. So how long was your your partnership with
it was Tatiana? 4.5 years, I believe.
Super successful, super fun.
Yeah.
Not so fun sometimes.
No,
always fun.
I mean, when I set myself on fire at Ohio Star Ball, probably, not as fun.
Oh, okay. Explain. What was...
we had a show dance in Ohio Star Ball, as every pro couple in the final does a show dance. Yeah. And we always want to push the envelope a little bit. And one year, as we're discussing ideas... Tatiana loves to go to shows, like magician shows. She loves to go to, concerts. All kinds of weird stuff. And she gets ideas, and she gets inspired, which is cool. And so she comes down one time, and she's like, "Can we set you on fire?" And I'm like, what? And she's like, can we research the idea of setting you on fire? And of course, I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Let's do that shit.
Yeah, that's exactly how things went. She'd pitch something, and I'd be like, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Just, I need to make it work.
What sign is she? You know?
She's January 15th, so...
Capricorn.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. But she's also, you know, she has some family things that the way she grew up. She comes from a small country, which is Moldova. You know, she's very proud of where she's coming from. And, you know, she has a strong direction, I think, in life. You know.
That's awesome.
More than, let's say, some other people. But anyway, I research. I end up getting a fireproof shirt, what the firemen wear. We choreograph a dance. I test out what it would be like to set myself on fire in the studio. I mean, you have some patches on that are sewn on that burn. You dab them in gasoline.
Yeah.
And you light them on fire.
Okay. And how you turn it off? Like
lighter. Oh, how do you turn off? Yeah, you patch it. You pat it down and it's over. So we were, you know, discussing when we would do it.
So nobody knew going into the show you would do that? You didn't tell anybody?
No. We didn't. We normally, as I said to you, we normally...
I didn't even saw the show.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
I need to see it.
You can, I'm sure, add a link to it or something. It's on YouTube. But the one on fire is on YouTube. And I do it at the end of the dance, so it's not like the whole dance. I can't dance with it. But
so what was the not good part about it? Or what? Because you said until I set myself on fire.
Well, I mean, that was probably the most nerve-wracking feeling that I've had. Not because of dancing, but because
in regards of
what may go wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't want to announce it. I didn't want to, you know, I think I told one of my friends when we were all changing behind, you know, for the show dance, I was like, look, you know, if I catch on fire, you know, you need to roll me in a rug or something, you know, just making sure. But it was interesting because we won a lot of times show dances with Tatiana in Ohio by doing something simple and direct.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we wanted to do something complex and interesting, and that would come at a cost of not winning the show dance, which was okay. But we wanted to push a certain thing. So that was one of them where the year before that, we won the show dance where we had a fake argument before the show dance. Yeah. It looked real.
Yeah.
But we had a fake argument in Russian, and then she slaps me. We do the tango, and then we get a standing ovation.
I saw it in Royal Ball. You did.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a similar tango, but the setup was, you know, we had an argument before and all that stuff. So anyway, that worked.
But people weren't aware.
No, they thought we were arguing. That was the whole pretense to it.
Awesome.
This was different. So, you know, I think we were either third or fourth with it. It doesn't matter. But
okay, the fire situation. So you went. You danced. How was the reaction? Like people freaked out, or
no? I mean, it was. We didn't get. It wasn't. I think it was unexpected. That at the end you would see flames. On my shirt.
Yeah.
So I think it was just It was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
But it was about us testing out how much we could do with a minute 45 without props, without lighting, and you know we just did that.
Yeah.
So that's
what was the placement? What did you
third or fourth, something like that? Maybe second, but I'm not sure where we ended up with the show dance. It was a very lyrical piece. It was a Russian song, very sad. It was about losing him, and at the end, you know, I set myself on fire. Yeah. So what I was saying is that it's nerve-wracking. You have a lighter in your pocket, you know, when you're dancing. You're thinking about the end already while you're dancing.
Yeah.
I'm dabbing myself in gasoline right before I go on the floor, and my smooth guys are like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I have to time it right, because if I do it too soon, it's going to dry up. So, a lot of testing.
Yeah.
You know. So,
man,
you know.
How was the I mean, obviously, after the show dance, you talked to some people. People came up and so on. Like, what was the reaction? Let's say of judges or from
the
people you worked
that
with.
It was just, like I said, unexpected. Yeah, it was cool, but it was more about what we wanted to do. I don't think it wasn't anything like, I mean, there's only so much you can do with a show dance at Ohio Star Ball.
Yeah.
But this was pretty far. You know, I have yet to see.
Yeah, pushed the envelope really to the edge.
I mean, the only other thing would be if someone just disappeared and did something like that. And you would be like, okay, that's...
What the fuck happened? Yeah.
Yeah, but... So we did that. I remember there was another instance where we decided that at USDC, and I think you remember this because you might have been there, that after Waltz...
Which year was it?
It was 19, I believe, maybe 18 or 19.
I'm not sure.
I ended up flipping my jacket inside out.
I remember that. Yeah.
Again, also, you know, it was USDC. It's
for the tango.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It was a national championship. Like, you don't mess with that. Like, you do your thing, right? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so my brother has to make me a suit that can be flipped inside out, that can look exactly the same so that all the padding works. Yeah. That's complicated. I had to make a copy of the number so that when I flip the jacket, I also have a number.
Yeah.
You know, blah, blah, blah.
All this.
I had the time, how long it would take me to remove the suit.
Yeah.
And her to put it back on me, and it's really tight.
Yeah.
So, and I have to do it in 20 seconds because I don't want to be the dickhead that's holding up a competition.
And then flip it back over.
No, I didn't flip it.
Oh, you didn't back over.
So that was the part we did not want to do again.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so we experimented, you know?
Yeah. And it took too long. It took too long, huh?
No, I timed it perfectly.
Yeah,
because while everybody was finishing their bow, she was already removing the jacket.
Gotcha.
So I had to shave off some time in the beginning. I had to start changing it.
Yeah.
And so we did it kind of dance related. It wasn't just a... And then she buttoned it up on me, tango. I was in the red jacket, and I just remember the judges being like,
"What the fuck happened?
How is the jacket red when they just saw me dance by in a black suit?" You know. So I thought I was gonna get maybe in trouble from the chairman because I didn't know if there was any rules about switching costumes.
Switching costumes, yeah.
But
within 20 seconds.
Exactly. Or whatever.
Awesome,
I mean, maybe there's a rule.
Whose idea was it? Tatiana's?
We both wanted to experiment a little bit, and but in the right way.
Yeah.
That's why I find some people either don't experiment at all, so they.
But even with choreography, not like, okay, this is like not far-fetched, but like really pushing the boundaries of what we can do within ballroom, right?
Sure.
And you were brave enough to actually go there, even though you knew it can affect your end result, right? But some people are so rigid in no changing in the choreography, no changing in anything. Like, you gotta be a certain way, and that's it, right?
Correct. But they're trying to please, an outside opinion in order to get a result and blah, blah, blah. And we felt that was never, we did not want to be that couple. And, we were never that couple.
You were never the couple.
We did what we did, and if we were second and we didn't win, or we were whatever placement, then so be it.
So you were okay with that? You weren't chasing the first place per se?
I think that Tatiana is much more competitive than I am. So we had a bit of a duality in our partnership where, not that I didn't care, but I cared more about what I left when I retired, what I left as a dancer.
Impression.
Yeah, an impression, what people thought of me afterwards.
Yeah.
And what I...
But not thought of you in the sense of professionally, what you left as a legacy, so to say?
Yeah, less of a legacy, but in terms of...
Not legacy, but it's the wrong word, but like... image, I guess.
Yeah, an image, an impression, or exactly meaning what was good about what I did. And maybe it inspired other people to do it something similar. For her, she comes from a place where it's either number one or your shit.
Yeah.
And that's also a good mentality because it pushes to the top.
Do you think it pushed you a little bit more because of that mentality of hers? No?
No, I was always very eager about being artistic, and I was aggressive about it. But she was aggressive more about
pushing the competitive side,
the placements and winning. At the end of the day, winning. Yeah. That's what she liked.
Did you argue?
Not really. Never really argued with Tatiana. Never had one of those walk out practices.
Got it.
I was 35 already in a way, meaning I don't have to be mature in that sense, but I was 35 and I've walked out my share of practices when I was 20.
Yeah.
Easy. I've kicked some doors. Okay. I've punched some walls.
Yeah.
But after
you get so emotional as those dancers. It's like so fucking big drama and shit when you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
Because you care so much.
Yeah, but you also
what does the sports psychologist say about that? Max?
What? About what?
About kicking doors and being so emotional about dancing.
Oh, just I think lack of confidence a lot of times and lack of control mentally.
Yeah.
Where at 35, let's just do it again. Yeah. Go get some water and let's do it again.
And let's go again.
And tomorrow, and if today doesn't work out, we're gonna come back and do it tomorrow. But at 25 or earlier, you're like, can't do this step. My life is over.
One of my partners always said we had great days or couple of days of training, and then after you practice for 4 days, the fifth day was like shit, nothing worked and this and that. And it was like fuck, right? And she said, let's get an ice cream.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? What ice cream?
Yeah.
What are you mental? We have 3 days to prepare for the competition, for the Swiss championship, whatnot.
Yep.
Right? We're dancing 10 days together. We have 3 days left. Are you fucking mental?
Yeah.
I'm not going for ice cream. She goes, just come for an ice cream. We went for an ice cream. Came back.
Huh?
And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
How did she know to do that?
She learned it from her partner before.
Okay. Cool.
It's like, just let's get an ice cream.
Yeah, but you you went with it, and that most people maybe would not at all.
Yeah, but at that point I was like, fuck, nothing works.
So
it's like, okay, fuck it, okay, suggestion, whatever, let's go with it.
Sure.
And then got an ice cream, had 2-hour break, licking the ice cream, had the sunshine, kind of
vitamin D.
Change the scene.
The environment.
Came back and it was like, okay, now, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary. It was mental switch. And it made you relax and, dopamine hit from the sugar. I don't know, whatever it was.
All of that.
Yeah.
But
so
I think I think also the lack of patience when you're younger. You know what I mean? All of that.
100%.
And I experienced that with Tatiana, that let's say...
Well, she was older too, so... the partner.
Who?
My partner.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you
go.
She
was like...
Well, there you
5 years older, 6 years older, so...
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
But I think with her, that was the toughest part, is that I was older in the sense of I already had kicked a few doors down and this and that, and she hadn't, symbolically. So So when we were competing and we couldn't win, Nick and Victoria were kind of untouchable, and then we started to get closer.
Yeah.
And we still, on the USDCs, on the nationals, we would be 1 mark away, but it wouldn't go our way.
Yeah.
So it pissed her off a lot because So she experienced quite a lot of, I think, frustration with that. But if she looks back now, I'm sure that she looks back differently. She's 30 now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in general, I think having an older partner is better.
Or
or maybe both are, you know, on a certain maturity level.
Yeah, but this is the dilemma, right? When you're getting older, I mean, you more mature, but and you more experienced, but there's not, like, I don't know, I don't want to say you lose an edge.
Yeah.
But there is like certain things that you kind of, when you were young, it was like easy and going 4 hours or whatever the situation is, right? But it's like, on one side you understand, okay, the end is near.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And on the other hand, you're like, shit, I want to kind of like go out with the bang or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then in your case, you were like calm and you were like, okay, but some people go crazy.
But I think I was in the perfect middle between where my maturity and my skill level and my experience all met. They were all optimal.
Yeah.
You know? That's why when I retired at 39, 4 years later, some people thought it was either too early or kind of unexpected. But for me, I had felt...
But you didn't... Okay, go ahead.
No, I had just felt that I started to not be as, eager with it. And so once you start to feel that, you could push yourself. But now you're going against the grain and you're wasting energy just to push yourself.
Just to get to
just
practice.
To show up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway.
Got it. I wanted to ask you about, because you said Mama brought you to the theater.
Yeah.
Right? And I asked you, okay, did it affect you in choosing the direction you go, right?
Right.
But now, once you said the relationship with Tatiana, you were more on the artistic side and she was more the competitive side.
Correct.
So I'm connecting the dots like, maybe this was the effect of...
I'm sure that subconsciously, as a kid, hearing the sound from the stage of the orchestra, whatever. Being on the stage.
Expressing all the people doing...
Not having stage fright, at 8 years old.
Exactly.
You pushed out from the side curtain, you know what I mean? Then you have a speaking role and you have this full quiet theater. It's... So when you go through that, USDC is a walk in the park.
Yeah.
So maybe the experience of it's subconscious, but but Tatiana is also artistic, but she does it, I think, in order to win.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Meaning winning is ultimate.
So the motivation is, okay, I'm doing something on the edge to actually get the first place or do something different to actually get there.
Yeah. And so what was good about it is that it was artistic.
Yeah. But then your motivation was more, where can I take it artistically?
And also, what can I learn from it in the process? I was always interested in being a better teacher than anything else. Meaning that is more...
Yeah, we had the conversation on Embassy, remember?
Yeah.
We were talking about like, hey, so what's next for you and this and that. Yeah. And we come to it, guys, but it stick with my mind because I have my things going on and where I'm going to go and this and that. And then I was asking you, like pro-am and this and that. And you were like, yeah, I like this teaching part a lot.
Yeah.
And you were telling me like, the pro-am is good and, it's money and this and that. But my heart is at teaching. Yeah. That's what you said to me. It sticked with me. But it was what, like 3 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's it. I think I always felt that way. So it was always for me an accumulation of experiences and knowledge that I can then turn into...
Provide,
So I can share that and say, hey, if a couple comes to me, let's say at one point, and says, hey, we want to do something different. I'd like to, I'd like to come out in ice skates on Ohio Star Ball. And skate around,
Yeah.
So I'd have to have a perspective.
Yeah.
And I would have done something different or weird in order to have that perspective. So that was more for me. For Tatiana, I think it was more about the immediate result that it would cause.
Mm-hmm.
But we both funneled it through the artistic part. And so that's maybe when you say
the motivation was different though.
You said, oh, it was awesome, it was different. Yeah, because we both were kind of singing the same tune, just had different reasons.
What would you say was the best experience with her, either competitively, on the practice, I don't know, whatever come to mind, like what sticks with you that in regards to your experience for your teaching, like, you understand what I'm where I want to go?
Yeah,
it's like what experience or what situation like maybe clicked with you working with her throughout those 4 years. What did you take for yourself as a tool for teaching, or understood something, or
I think that if I was a teacher who taught her then, so meaning if I was the coach, I think I would have a tough time with her, coaching her.
But you didn't have a hard time dancing with her?
No, but I think what's interesting about Tatiana is that she's so individualistic and so clear about how she wants to do something or the way she wants to do it. It wouldn't matter how many MBEs someone has or how many world champions are coaching her. It wouldn't matter, because it's still more important to her to deliver what she wants. And if they did not align with that or didn't help her with that, it would piss her off. And so
you understood it as a dance partner, and
I understood it as a dance partner, and I understood it as a dancer. But I'm not sure if I was sitting in the seat coaching that kind of person, if I would be that accepted of that. Because if you're on my lesson, you are there to hear my opinion. Not to say that you shouldn't have one, but I'm not sure if you're there to give me yours. At least that's the way I look at it. So I'm not saying my perspective is right. I'm just saying the way I've been on lessons is that I'm there to give the person the time to give me their opinion of what I'm doing wrong or right, or how to make it better, whatever. But she always voiced her. So they said, do it like this. She would sometimes say, well, I like to do it like that. And again, I understand the strength of it, and all that. And the people that were smart about it or were good about it, they saw that and they helped her
to translate into
the way she, maybe it would satisfy them a little bit too, but also it would satisfy her. But the ones that headbutted, they simply just didn't want to have to deal with it at all. Do you know what I mean?
Now, looking at it now, understood that now, would you be able to cope with that or deal with that or
I think I would be if I have a Tatiana on my lesson, and eventually I will. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And that's just a test to what perspective you have and how deep insecure or secure you are in yourself. The people that headbutted with her were insecure ultimately.
Who was it? No,
I mean, I can make a list.
No.
They'll be listed on the bottom of the podcast.
Link below.
There were people. I mean, I would say, without saying names, I'd say a lot of them were female. Because it was a little bit threatening. On some sort of a fundamental level.
So you as an outsider, you were obviously on the lesson, but standing outside, seeing the interaction, you understood this.
I understood the dynamic. I understood that the people that we worked well with really were clear in themselves and the idea they wanted to deliver. And the more they did that, the more she respected them.
Yeah.
And then the people that kind of did that,
Mm-hmm.
she didn't want to have anything to do with it because they weren't like going to challenge.
Yeah, the interesting thing is because most of those or almost all of those coaches, they're judges as well.
Correct.
That's fucked up, though.
Yeah, because
when you butt heads with the coach, and you disagree, and then you judge by them, they have a bitter taste in their mouth, right?
They do. So we made sure that after a few experimental coachings,
Mm-hmm.
we've really just said, look, this is our team. It's very small. It consists of 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you either go to everybody,
mm-hmm.
or you only have a small team.
But this is what I have a not problem with, but like in dancing is so, it's unlike any other sport, because when you're a young guy and you don't have what Tatiana had, or you kind of like have experience, you mature, you have your technique, you have this and that, and you have some information, you can filter through it, right? Think about it, apply it, or not take it at all. But as a young guy and you go to all those coaches,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And you don't have the base and you kind of like listen to the ideas, you go like this.
Correct.
In your career, right?
Correct.
So do you, now as a coach, right, you take this into consideration, like when you coach couples, for example, or your students, do you think about those things? Like, do you give the advice, because you also studied sports psychology, right?
Yeah.
Do you direct those people to actually, okay, guys, you got to do this, depending on what level they are, right? It was like, okay, listen, you got to have first 1 year of those 2 people, 3 people, whatever. Do you do that? Or do you think about it? Or you just give the lesson, give the opinion, and then how much are you involved in the...
I think I'm going to be more involved eventually as time passes by, but I'm still freshly retired,
Mm-hmm.
within, plus the pandemic years were kind of shot. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm still too freshly retired to be that involved on the coaching side.
Got it.
I am coaching couples. Some of them are pro, some of them are amateur,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more about a peer-to-peer relationship.
Yeah.
I'm not of an age where I am, sitting in a chair giving wise decisions.
No. I'm not talking about wise decisions, but like, obviously, we spoke about, maybe couple come to you and say, okay, I want to do something on the edge,
yes.
right? You have the experience.
Correct.
But you also have experience of basic, of, you went through a lot of coaches.
Correct.
With Tatiana. You just told me your experience.
Yeah.
Okay, we chose just 3 people.
Correct.
Right? Simple example. Couple comes to you, is like, hey, we lost, we don't know what to do,
Yeah.
right? The experience you had, you go like, okay, guys, you need to choose your team or whatever.
Yeah.
Would you give the advice, or you go like, okay, guys, you need to think about it, but not go there?
So I'll tell you what it is. I think that the only time I give that kind of an opinion
Mm-hmm.
is when I'm asked. So, and usually I'm not asked.
Gotcha.
So there are couples that I coach, meaning that I give lessons to,
Mm-hmm.
that I know for a fact are making their rounds around many, many people.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But they are trying to please a lot of individual minds and opinions.
Yeah.
And then I think usually these people are not, as you said, maybe strong enough in a core as a unit to withstand this and that and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So I generally don't give out my opinion unless they go, hey, now they bitch about being confused. They bitch about not being marked. They bitch about, but this person just told us that. And you know, at the end of the day, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, but you're choosing to
go
to run around, and you're not really strong enough in your product to just allow a few people to steer it in the right direction. And that's usually what happens. But if they go, look, you know, we just feel confused, genuinely, if they go, what do you think we should do? Then I will explain what I think, you know. But 90% of the time I see the first thing I said to you, and I don't really butt in. They need to figure that out. And I haven't started judging yet. So meaning I haven't gotten to the other side yet.
Of the spectrum.
And I'm not really eager to. You know, I will. But I also know that now if people are coming for a lesson, it's because of dancing. Because then it gets a little confusing. I'm like, okay, are they coming for a lesson?
For my knowledge, for my expertise?
Or the fact that I'm on the USDC panel in 3 months. You know, and then you can't really, it's hard to figure that out because unless you ask, but they can still
That's your next line of experiences that you need to.
So I prefer the artistic work. I prefer that because it's more satisfying. You know, if I get a rhythm couple coming
3 years old on the stage,
right?
This is what drives you,
right?
I told you were affected by that.
I'm sure it was just not conscious. I don't remember being it, but yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I'm gonna handle it, you know, being that way, but I can.
Funny you should say that because I had this same conversation. I mean, this topic, right, with Jarek and Lilia.
Okay.
And they were talking about, you know, we talked about different stuff in terms of like pro sports and, you know, pros not being paid enough and blah, 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 and kind of create like this pro mentality.
Yeah.
Different things.
Yep.
But they were like proposing like, if we can build up that, then you can have just coaches and just judges and pay them enough money to actually just judge and earn enough money to actually sustain themselves just with judging.
Correct.
And not coach.
Right.
And then you really not as biased as when you coach or when a couple comes to you and so on and so forth.
Correct.
Right?
I think when you said something recently about, you know, judges, coaches, it's incestual, meaning it's like, you know, dating your cousin because people wear too many hats. Look at the other hats. You can have a competition. You can do pro-am at the same time.
Yep.
You can judge.
Yeah.
And you can do shows.
Yeah.
Should we add one more?
Yeah.
I mean, hello.
Yeah.
So it does cross a lot of boundaries, man, and that's my personal opinion. But we are in the United States, and once you limit someone's ability to earn money, people look, you know, kind of sideways on that. So let's say you tell a judge, like, okay, your salary is, you know, $50K a year, and they could be making $150K a year.
Yeah.
So it's that, and I get that too, but I'm not sure if it's going to change much. I think it's lovely to think of an ideal.
No, it's just, you know, we fell into the conversation. The conversation was 3 hours and 45 minutes. It was like insane.
Right.
Like we were sitting here chatting and so on, right? But it came up and I was like, yeah, that's an interesting take on, because NFL and what is the other one? Hockey League and NBA and stuff. There are pros players, right?
Yep.
Paid certain amount of money.
Correct.
They are coaches.
Correct.
Certain amount. They are you know,
officials
that you know do commentators, this and that.
Sure.
So they were kind of like entertaining the idea to scale it up for general public to actually also bet on the dancers who wins and so, you know what I mean?
That's
like
something you have to involve the general public.
Of course.
Our business is fairly small compared to, let's say, the NBA.
Exactly, yeah.
So
we just entertained the idea, right? So it was like
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we had this conversation with some guys, or we talk about pro-am, let's say, and we talk about getting paid for pro-am. You know, everybody sets their own price, and we just talked about, like, look, what would it cost to play golf with Tiger Woods. If I'm an amazing golfer, a professional golfer, and my idol is Tiger Woods, and if there was a possibility for me to play with him, 18 holes, what would it cost? There would be a price. And if somebody's willing to pay it, I'm sure there will be a price. What would it cost for me to play ball with, shoot some hoops with Michael Jordan? I mean, Pro-Am is essentially, if you're looking at the top people that you're hiring to do Pro-Am, you're looking at Michael Jordans and you're looking at Tiger Woods. And we're highly skilled at what we do. Yeah. So we chatted about that. We're like, it'll be a different amount of money.
That's a different take on it as well. I never thought about it that way though.
But listen.
But it's essentially what you're saying. Yeah.
Or let's say, I'm not into horses, but I know for a fact I have a few clients that are. Yeah. And they tell me, they're my Pro-Am clients, but they tell me they're on the side of, do you know what it would cost you to ride $1 million horse? Meaning $1 million horse, meaning that horse is $1 million for the genetics and for what it's trained to do. It is a Ferrari. Yeah. So if you wanted to ride that and you've never ridden a horse before, you're, basically bronze or silver or whatever, wherever you are, they said, first of all, that horse would throw you off in 5 seconds because it's not getting the information. Exactly. And it feels like you don't know what you're doing. So first of all, it would be very hard to do. You'd have to get very skilled. And if you did, it would cost you a lot of money.
Like how much?
6 digits.
For what?
Well,
day,
to ride
hour?
To ride it in a competition.
In the competition. Got it.
To ride it in a competition, to use the...
As an amateur. As an amateur person coming in. Got it.
We're talking 6 digits. So, that's the conversation that can be discussed about what we do in Pro-Am. I mean, we're fine-tuned Ferraris.
Max, let's scale up. You got to raise your prices.
Right?
Students, you are screwed right now.
Yeah, but listen, there's always, it's funny when you look at, and you look at something in life, whether it's cars or watches or whatever, and you get to a really high level of it, and you're like, okay, and then you realize that's just the beginning. Yeah. You know what I mean? And when you go deeper, you're like, I didn't know. Yeah. Right? With everything fine, with anything like that. So that's the thing with,
but it's also, if you give it value, if you value it, you spend this money. Like if you go, you know what I mean? Like when you figuring out the fine things, right? And then you go like, I'm into cigars. You're into cigars, whiskey as well, right?
Of course.
So it's like, and I was young, I was like drinking whatever, vodka and Jack Daniels. That's it. Nothing against Jack Daniels, but there's better stuff out there. Right. But you have like, then you fine tune and you go like, do I want to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a bottle of good whiskey? Fuck yeah. $300 or $250 for a stick of cigar to enjoy it.
But I think
not many people understand it. Oh, you spend so much money on this. Yeah. I'm not into it, so it's waste of money. For you, yes. Yeah. For me, not.
I think it's more about self-value. I don't think you're evaluating the thing. I think ultimately when you do that, when I get a bottle of whiskey that is very expensive, it's more about me. It's more about that I can have this. It's less about that whiskey, and I'm not even valuing that. It's more about I'm allowing myself to, entertain myself that way. So I'm just saying that, people that put a value on, let's say, our skill. I mean, how do you? I mean, it's intangible. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's more about them. It's more about how they value or not value themselves.
Got it.
The ones that I think are what do you call it? Bargaining, or I never understood that. If I come in, I I don't know, if I go for breakfast and I have eggs and sausage and a cup of coffee,
and
she brings me a bill, she goes, $25. I go, how about 21?
Listen, students, listen.
I've already eaten the breakfast.
Some truth is coming out. That's true.
I'm not trying to down it. I'm just saying.
No, I understand it.
I've never.
It's like a market.
Yeah, and it's worth what people will pay. In that way, right? Because again, in Pro-Am, and I know we went off on a tangent for Pro-Am, but we both do. Yeah. So we both do Pro-Am. So it's what people will pay. And you hear crazy prices somewhere in Hong Kong or in Europe, and you're like, wow. And sometimes you hear some really low, like...
And you don't understand, like...
Right? So it's like real estate, you know? Somebody will pay $1.5 million for a one-bedroom house.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess it was worth it.
Yeah, got it.
So it's kind of like
That's
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
We gotta do a separate podcast about all those.
We have to make a list of all the podcasts that we want to do. There will be Cigars next podcast. There will be Smoke, and you know, you won't see much. I'm
looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it, man. And we get more people and just have a conversation.
Of course.
I have the stuff. I bring it.
Great.
Fantastic, man. All right, so you retired with Tatiana because you said you lost the drive, or not lost the drive. You said something about that you kind of...
I started to get a feeling that I wasn't going to be putting out my best as much anymore.
Because of the sacrifices that I was able to make before that I no longer wanted to make. Time restraints, traveling. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you do it your whole life and I told you going to East Coast for multiple partners, doing all that, landing, doing red eyes, you do it. But then, you know, at some point it's like, I don't feel like it anymore. So when that starts to shift a little bit, because that's connected to if you don't feel like getting on the plane and getting somewhere, that means you also don't feel like doing that thing as much, and so on. And I don't want to be a chore, and I felt like if I had to do another year, let's say, just another year, and I had to push myself, I could do it, but what quality would it be? And you're not fully involved anymore. And
it would not be satisfying for me. I would do, let's say, Tatiana did want to do another year. Yeah. When I had a chat with her about after Ohio Star Ball, you know, you have vacation, December, whatever, and I just remember coming back and into the year in January and not quite, you know, and for real, not like, you know, I'm just in the mood or whatever. It's raining outside. I don't feel like practicing today.
As most Californians do.
Right. It was more of an internal, like, you know, like I'm not going to give it my all. And I'm like, I don't want to do it that way. Yeah. So
you spoke with her. What did she say when you gave her the news?
She wanted to do another year. That's what she was thinking. She didn't. I'm very good about being pretty open about how things are in terms of like I'm not going to have shitty practices for 6 months, knowing that I already wanted to retire, you know, and then give her attitude and just be pissy about it, and then 6 months later tell her, well, I felt like this since last year. You know what I mean? I felt like this for 6 months. I think that's bullshit. That's not fair to other people. Yeah. So as soon as I felt, and listen, at the time, I was already married to my wife, like, you know, Anastasia. Yeah. And we were
hi, Nastya.
Yeah. We were, you know, we have a dog, we have a pit bull, we have a house.
So there was an aspect of life itself.
I had a family-ish feeling. We started talking about kids, you know. Yeah. It was starting. And I thought, okay, this is kind of shifting.
Yeah,
when I was dating Anastasia and we were still dancing with the town, that was different. We already lived together, but fine. But
she had a part and she was dancing with.
She was dancing, exactly.
What's his name?
Carlos.
Carlos, yes.
Yeah.
Carlos.
So we were doing our thing, dating. It was good, but it kind of got more serious and all that. So I felt a transition coming.
Yeah.
So she wanted to do another year, and I said, look, it was at the end of November after Ohio. I had a chat. Then we all went on vacation and Christmas, and then I came back and I said, look, either if I don't retire soon, like now in the beginning of the year, that means I have to do the entire year until USDC.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I thought I hated the idea of retiring at USDC.
Because?
It meant nothing to me. As a comp.
Yeah.
It was a title comp. No offense to Wayne Ang. Wayne, if you're watching it, you run a great comp. But that wasn't where I wanted to end it.
Yeah.
And
was the Ohio Star Bowl with the fire the last one?
Yeah. That was the one with the fire. What?
Nothing?
Yeah.
I wanted to go artistically, not for title, people.
I wanted to be on fire when I went.
Yes. And I've been and have been and
that's right.
Went.
So, and again, until Ohio, building up to it, I didn't necessarily feel anything unusual,
Yeah.
But we've traveled for 4 years. We've done shows. We've done Blackpool, And I said to her, look, if the problem is if I retire at Emerald Ball, that means doing 6 more months of competing.
Yeah.
It was January, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That means Beach Bash, that means Vegas, that means New York Dance Festival. Okay, I'm already pushing it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, I'll give you last option is NYDF. New York Dance Festival, it's in February. It's Eugene's comp. It's
coach.
symbolic. It's our coach.
Yeah.
David Hamilton was judging that year.
Yeah.
Charlotte Jorgensen was judging that year. All my close coaches. And I was like, I'm going out over there. That's it. And so I just told her that. It wasn't
how she reacted?
I think she had to digest it because it was earlier than she had expected, I guess. But I really don't think that 1 more year would have been anything, which meant that also when I retired in March, the pandemic hit.
Did you know?
No.
Did you had an insight?
Did I get a call from China?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, had this situation at the market.
Just retire.
We ate some dirty raccoons. And, So I didn't know.
Yeah.
So we set up for doing the comp and then reading the letter at the end of the comp. And the comp ran really late that year. He had like 14,000 entries. And we just read the letter. I didn't do the retirement dance. And that was it. And then the next week, lockdown. And I was like, because I would never come back.
What the fuck just happened?
I was never going to walk.
Wow.
I was never going to come out of that lockdown, right? I mean, people did. Anybody who's dancing now, they made it through.
Yeah.
I don't know. They practiced in masks, whatever. I was looking at it. I was like, oh my God, what a blessing. Timing is truly everything. And now Tatiana obviously realizes that it was, for that reason, it was also good timing.
Yeah.
Because we all took a 2-year break. And anyway, so...
Wow, man.
So the pandemic plus my feeling of...
Yeah.
It was just right.
Got it.
I went out on a high note. I felt like I would rather leave and be a little bit missed than, than not. And I did it in NYDF. All the coaches were there. It's a big dancers comp, as you know. It's not a fuck around comp.
Yeah.
And it meant a lot. And that's how I remembered it.
Got it. All right. So what's next for you though? You said your heart is at teaching. So you doing still pro-am or you just...
I'm doing pro-am with, not by choice, but it seems to be a selective group of women who know that I'm very serious about what I do, and it's not a bullshit approach. We don't just go out there and have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm tough on them in terms of, you know, that they practice on their own, that they get better, because ultimately that's what they pay money for, and spend, you know, half of their day doing. Yeah. You know, so I want them to have something, and so that's a project on its own. Each girl is different. And, you know, it's a little mini project within that.
And you obviously get paid as Tiger Woods.
A little bit less. Minus also the promotional stuff.
I'm fucking with you, man.
I wish.
Soon.
If I did, I'd buy you a whole studio.
Soon, my man.
I'd just get you a whole studio, and we would just be doing this all day. We would do one comp a year.
Yeah.
And then we would just do this. And we don't really care if anybody watches.
Exactly.
Well, we do now, but if I made $250 a year, no.
Just have a good time smoking cigar, doing podcasts.
And if you happen to watch, good for you.
Yeah.
So the reality is that, yes, Pro-Am is interesting to me because it's hands-on. Not only do I coach a person, but I'm dancing with them, which is also weird. Yeah. Because if you watch ice skating, or I was watching a couple days ago in Japan, you know, and you see the coach on the sideline, you know, and then the skater comes off and they talk about it and whatever. Fucking, like normal shit. Yeah. Hockey, everything. Yeah. Here, we coach them and then we're dancing with them. So I'm enjoying that part. I still have a little bit left in me in terms of the physicality of the dancing. Yeah. I'm still capable.
And keeps you fit, you know?
I try, you know? Yeah. I was never a fat kid. So I never...
No. In terms of like, it keeps you moving. It's not like, you
for
know,
sure. No.
As a coach, you kind of like, you dance 3 bars, whatever, and then it's done and you're just standing around. But here you kind of, you know, you still...
I still move and I still feel like I can. And so it's not like I just have to do this. Yeah. That part is separate. And then I really am not a politically motivated person as far as dancing goes, because I'm more of the artistic side, and one doesn't really go well with the other.
3 years old on the stage.
Yep. I would rather smoke a cigar and talk about this than, you know, judge another comp.
Gotcha.
So I haven't got into judging yet.
Well, do you plan to do those exams?
I'm
and
doing
stuff?
them.
Are you doing them?
I'm
already?
doing them.
Yeah.
And when they're done, you know, I'm in a way I'm prolonging them, because when I have a license, I don't have an excuse. If somebody asks me to judge, I'm like, oh, okay, you know. But now, if they ask me, and they do ask me,
cannot.
I go, sorry, not ready yet.
Oh, now it will be out. Now they know.
Yeah, but that's, you know, it will be. It's fine.
But is it because you consciously don't want to enter this realm?
It's 100%, because I could have done these exams when I was competing. Yeah. And I mean, Tatiana's currently judging. She was judging Beach Bash.
I saw her. Yeah.
So she got them actually when we were still dancing. She did the testing and stuff. Yeah. So when she retired, she could just go. Yeah. I'm not. I think it'll happen. It's inevitable. But I would like the hands-on stuff right now. Yeah. I don't want to necessarily hold a pen and put my opinion down.
So I know you're doing the amazing camp, and I saw some people there, and it's just 3 days full on, like
blood, sweat, and
I saw some pretty big names there.
Yeah, so
tell us about
the project. Some people run a comp, some people judge. I don't feel close to either one right now.
Yeah, so, you told me so. Yeah,
you know, it's fine. It's just not a thing. So I found myself interested in running an educational type of an event. Yeah, not an entertainment type of an event. And the camp was a good thing to do, because I would like to create an environment, especially in LA, that we don't feel much. LA is kind of strange, I have to tell you, for that, you know, in certain ways.
Hello.
I know, but that's in a cool way. We're talking in like R-worded way. Yeah, you know, like it's in a sense, like when I go to New York and I did camps, Eugene's camps in New York and comps there, man, There's no parking in front of the studio. You park 20 minutes away. You take an Uber to the studio. It's sweaty inside. The windows are fogged up. The changing room is like the size of a closet.
Yep.
And everybody's fine because that's the grind.
Yep.
And all the jazz studios are like that, and it's dirty.
Yep.
Okay? It's cold as shit outside. It's warm inside. Everybody's sweating their ass off. So the mentality of that is great for being creative.
Yep.
And in LA, I found, because I'm here for 30 years now, it's a bit blasé. You know what I mean? It's a bit like...
Oh, is it cool? And
it's a bit like, you know, if I don't have parking, I don't know if I'm going to go. Like, if it's too early in the morning, there's going to be traffic.
Oh, you sound like Californian.
Dude, it's like getting people for camp in LA has been a challenge.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna keep doing it, but it's like I just felt a big difference that, you know, where's there gonna be parking? Is there a coffee shop next to the studio?
You fucking kidding me?
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm bringing William Pino out from Italy. You're asking me if there's a Starbucks? You know what I mean? And where you're gonna park? So, you know, I have to deal with that, and I found that out.
Wow,
you know.
man.
So my job is to create the environment for 3 days, to lock these people in a room for 3 days.
Yeah.
And not to give them hors d'oeuvres and happy hour after 5, and we don't have cocktails at 6. You know, I know that there are camps like that, and I think that they simply tailor to a different clientele. That's all.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You know, there's you know, some clientele that is looking for a camp where they can learn some things, but they also want to do some social dancing, you know, and they want to do some formation dancing.
Yeah.
And they want to sightsee wherever the camp is.
Yeah.
Fine. Totally cool.
Yeah.
Just a different clientele, that's all. And I'm more about the competitive part in terms of these are all competitors. These are all artistic people, more or less. And I invite people also that are that way.
That can deliver. Yeah.
They can deliver on that wavelength.
Exactly, yeah.
And I mix people staff-wise. They're mixed. So I have a really cool contemporary girl, a Russian girl named Olga Sokolova.
Yeah.
And she works with some ballroom people already, but, you know, just a different perspective on the way people are moving.
Yeah.
You know, she's also has an interesting perspective on partnering and the fact that we're terrible at stretching and getting our body. You know how it is. We come in, we put the shoes on, jive.
Yeah, ballroom dancers. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And then by 40, we're like, I need a hip replacement.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I wonder why. So she's there to serve that purpose.
Yeah.
You have Latin people that personally I found a lot more clear in my journey in dancing for smooth.
Yeah.
Or even ballroom.
Yeah.
They had very clear concepts about dynamics and space or musicality.
Yeah.
And then I have some smooth people as well, like David Hamilton, you know, and I myself am also part of the staff, but I'm trying to, you know, step out of it for a second to give these people, you know, the stage. William Pino was brought in from Italy for hardcore ballroom, Marcus Holm for Latin, and the mix of that is what I like. Yeah. Because the lectures are general lectures about something in dancing.
Yeah.
They're not on the Roomba walk necessarily. Or a twinkle in smooth. Because I think in our camps, people attend all lectures across the board. And so I think that's a cool environment to.
And what is the structure? Like you have lectures in the morning and then some privates,
the opposite.
or
we tried
or
different. We had tried different formats, but the best format so far has been from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. are all privates.
Okay.
And there are at this point I think 273 lessons on the books, which was a lot for me to schedule because I do all the scheduling.
Wow.
So I have to make sure that nobody overlaps everybody because people have lessons with different people.
Of course.
And so that was a lot to do, but that's 9 to 4, and then 4, 5, and 6. So 50-minute each time is a lecture.
Yeah.
And you have 3 lectures per day.
45 minutes?
50 minutes.
50 minutes, yeah.
10-minute break, and then you do another lecture. Yeah. And then at 7:15, after the lectures are done, are rounds, competition rounds. And this time I brought in some live music. So I brought in a band.
Man,
and they're gonna bang it
cool.
out. They're gonna do Latin rounds for an hour, and then they're gonna do ballroom and smooth rounds for an hour.
Wow.
And we're gonna be done by 9, and then we're gonna do it all over again for 2 more days.
Got it.
And lectures are all different, meaning different people are lecturing on different days.
What's the date?
The date is next weekend, actually. It's 21st, 22nd, and 23rd
and
of
that
April.
puts me in a tight spot because I need to edit this podcast and put it out before.
Well,
so I will be working
sleepless
nights.
I will be sending over Grubhub drivers here with coffee and donuts.
So it's April 21st,
22nd, 23rd.
22nd, 23rd.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next week. I do 2 camps a year because I think that one is not enough.
Yeah.
So we do one around this time, around April. It's also nice before Emerald Ball.
Yeah.
It's the week before.
Yeah.
People can get some good coaching. And then we do one again in November before Ohio. So there's,
nice.
2 of them a year.
Yeah.
Summertime is busy anyway for people, for traveling, for Blackpool and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's where I'm at right now. I'm in the education department, I feel, in as far as ballroom dancing is concerned.
But you strike me as this guy.
What?
Like education, but you have this artistic side of you, but you kind of like, I don't know, I always saw you as a kind of like cool, calm, and collected, and know the direction and interest. Going deeper into things, not just surface level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you give this kind of vibe. At least I observed that.
Yeah.
About
Well,
you.
you're not wrong. I think that's I've been tailored to do that from high school, college, and there were some teachers that encouraged to read between the lines, and it's all.
And you do read between the lines anyway because you're Gemini.
That's right.
It's like
it's too many lines, double the lines.
It's
but yeah, it's the current thing that I do besides everything in between. I also like to have time to not do those things.
Because you need a break?
No, because
different interests. Like Volkswagen?
Yeah. Classic cars are definitely on the list.
Yep.
But it's not about the classic cars. It's not about owning them. It's about driving them.
Yeah.
It's about...
You came with one now?
No, it's raining and those don't go out in the rain.
Got it.
We don't pull those out.
Gotcha.
Anastasia likes the vintage stuff. We'll go... we'll go to a big band place and dance, socially. We'll take the classic cars. We'll go to car meets. We'll go to just for a drive on Sunday. Stuff like that. I find those things are very important. Not to keep me sane. Not necessarily that, but that's really life.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff is art, passion, work, whatever.
Got it.
But what I'm saying is I try not to overwhelm myself with like if I'm not doing anything, it's okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Where I think people in our business, especially successful ones, are always running from one thing to another. And if they're not, they're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Do they not need me anymore?
So, to close it up, your camp, this part of the interview.
Yeah.
What is it called exactly?
It's called LA Dance Camp.
And where can we find you?
You can find it on Instagram at LA Dance Camp.
Okay. You have a website as well or not?
There's no website for the camp. It's really interesting, but I do everything. Everything is like kind of old school, and if you want lessons or you want to come to camp, you just text me. You know what I mean? Like
text.
Seriously. You can people text me, people write me from Facebook when they see a post. They're like, "Hey, can I sign up for a seminar?" I'm like, "Done. Tick tick tick. That's it."
Gotcha.
I don't have any fancy.
Now, do you still have some spots open, or is it booked out?
So all 273 lessons are booked up,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a waiting list, and I put people on the waiting list. If something happens, somebody gets an injury, we can always fill it up. But the seminars and The rounds are all you just show
open.
up. Yeah. I mean, when we reach a fire hazard capacity, then we have to be like, sorry.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're quite good, and people just show up and they bang out their rounds and seminars. So it's still all good. I'm still going to be promoting it for another week, and then it's pretty much crunch time.
Yes.
When the coaches start flying in.
Okay, so the coaches, who is there? Come on, give it to me.
Right. We have Eugene Katzovman.
Eugene.
We have Karina Smirnov.
Karina, I just saw her yesterday in the studio teaching.
Yeah. Karina's a beast. She's she'll do like 17 lessons nonstop. She'll be on the floor correcting someone's feet.
Yeah, I know.
And then she'll do a group class, run arounds, and then be like, okay,
let's go.
Like, I'm like, you can go home now. So when she did the last camp, she was an animal. She's a true, a true pro. Eugene, else? Karina, Marcus Holm. So that's the Latin side of it.
Yeah.
And then you have Charlotta Jorgensen and David Hamilton. So you got ballroom and William Pino. So you got ballroom and smooth. Olga Sokolova will take care of any contemporary, modern, or stretching and all this stuff. And then I also have a seminar, that I do, and I'm teaching privates as well. So I'm part of the staff, but I'm also more organizing it. I did all the scheduling. I have Anastasia helping out a lot with all the reception stuff, and it's still a pretty tight operation. Meaning you've got to have everything organized.
You're gonna be
as artistic as you want to be. You can't fuck around too much.
Exactly.
So that's
now,
pretty much.
Is there any champagne or some? No, I'm joking.
Well, no, you're laughing, but the last day we bring the booze, and after the rounds are over, we can hang out and have some drinks.
Gotcha. Chat.
But again, I didn't get to the point where, let's say, if I ran an event like a comp, okay, whether it was 1 day or 2 day or 3 day, if I ever do cigar night, 100%.
I'm looking forward to
100, and we give out I would give out cigars. I'd be like, I would create a room, and I would have people next to you standing. I would pay them, and they would do this next to you like back in the Greek days.
Yep.
And they would just make sure there's no smoke next to you. I think that would be pretty high end. You just pay them, $20 an hour minimum wage. I'd give them dental and healthcare, and then they would just waive the smoke.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah.
Let's look for some comp.
Listen, it'll, again, I'm sure
will show up at the right time.
Yeah, things will organically kind of happen. I like the camp now. Maybe the camp and a comp eventually will merge.
Yep.
Which is cool. Eugene does an amazing job in New York running his camp. And I like that that it's also versatile. So I think these camps, when they're too narrow in terms of style or like ballroom camp or smooth camp, it's fine. But I think that at this point, we need to learn from everyone. And everyone's got something to say. And you'd be surprised the kind of stuff you pick up from another style. So, and at least that's what I remember doing when I danced with Tatiana. It was a hodgepodge of stuff. It was like, a lot of different things. So
awesome, man.
Yeah,
and
so
where is
this is going to be at a place called Hollywood Dance Academy, which is ironically in Van Nuys, not in Hollywood, but it's called Hollywood Dance Academy.
Got it.
It's in Van Nuys. It's 6732 Van Nuys Boulevard.
Got it.
We're there next weekend. If you are watching this and it's still before that weekend, then come on down. And if you just want to spectate, if you just want to see rounds, like if you just want to see high-end dancers kicking ass, doing their full-out stuff, and you're local, just come on down. Bring your own booze in a flask or whatever. And just chill. Hang out. Whatever.
Do spectators pay for watching rounds?
If they bring their own booze, no.
Keyword: booze.
Yeah. If you come dry, then
Got it. And bring some good whiskey for Max.
Absolutely. That'll definitely get you in the door for free.
Fantastic. Okay, before we go, 2 last questions.
Yeah.
First question is a fun one. what do you think makes a show special? And as I'm asking and thinking about your shows, I just realized what I asked.
There were a lot of special.
A lot of special. But what does it memorable for you, or emotional, or touching, or like capturing, I would say? I mean, besides the flares of fire on your shirt and stuff. But
meaning in my shows.
if you no, not in your show. Like when you watch a show.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the technical aspect and so on. I'm just talking about the, either the structure, music, lights, whatever, props, whatever.
Sure.
I don't know, relationship between people, or whatever your take on it. What does make for you as a audience show the show touching, emotional, like special?
I think ultimately, after everything you said about lighting and costumes and music and whatever, at the end of the day, I think if for the amount of time that the show happens, the spectator is so involved and invested into the topic or into the theme or into the people that are doing the show, that it takes them away from everything.
Yeah.
And I think any good movie or any good theater or any play or any show, that's what I remember being affected and touched by, is that, you walk out of there, you're back to your normal life, you got to call an Uber or whatever, but 2 hours ago you were like somewhere else. And maybe you were not in their storyline or whatever, maybe you were in your own head because of that storyline, but you were not just sitting in a seat watching something.
Yeah.
And it's not technical, it's something else. But
so what do you think is the ingredients to do that, what you just described?
I think a lot of effort has to go into details. Details that are normally overseen. Whether it's certain effects, whether it's a certain structure of the dances, the order of them, the lighting maybe. I think a lot of people, and we're talking ballroom, right? We're talking not
ballroom.
Just a show, but if we're talking ballroom couples, Latin, smooth, ballroom, whatever, they're doing shows. It's already very difficult because it's not a stage.
Yeah.
Okay, as much as we want it to be, it's a four-sided audience, including the podium.
Yeah.
And you don't really have a front, and the lighting is usually like hospital lighting, general lighting. The floor is huge, and you're on the same level as the spectator. So a lot of negatives in the sense of delivering something special already you have against you.
Yeah.
So you have to be really creative with aspects of, again, a storyline. I remember the last show that Tatiana and I did, meaning not the actual last show, but the show that we had that we traveled with for a year or two was 19 minutes long.
Wow.
Nonstop.
Man.
So that's what I'm saying to you. We have 4 or 5 dances to do in our repertoire, because that's what we do with Smooth. We have, 4 and maybe 5th being some sort of a mix. So the question is, how can you put it together so it flows? Maybe they're related, highly related. I find that a lot of couples will do 4 different dances, do 4 different pieces of music with 4 different costumes.
Yeah.
And then, while she's changing, he's talking about how they started dancing together.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's been the typical, what do you call it?
Situation.
Format. Typical format. So when we did it, we were like, can we do this nonstop? Is it possible?
Wow.
And so we did. It was a track that was 19 minutes long. So I would tell Brand, I was like, Brand, here's the USB. Press play and go have a smoke.
Yeah.
See you in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude,
awesome.
that's the best thing I've ever gotten. I go, you're free for 20 minutes. Because it was one track, and if we had a wardrobe malfunction, we would be fucked. You know what I mean? It was risky because the track was just playing. So anyway, there was a storyline, there was this and that, and it was wrapped up. There was an ending, there was a beginning, there was a middle.
Yeah.
And we did what we could.
Like a little mini movie.
Yeah, for 90 minutes. It was a physically tough show because 19 minutes. I mean, then if you're not dancing, you're running back and changing. And one of us is, usually on the floor, and if we're both changing, then the music is playing and the lights are down, and we would request as much as we could from the organizers. So it shows effort.
Yeah.
That's if I watch a show, it's not good enough just to do your
choreography of your dance routine
to a cool piece to Adele or whatever you choose.
Yeah.
Okay, like come on. I don't care what your emotional delivery will be. You're still doing your routine.
And it's a show dance, so it gotta be.
There's gotta be another layer,
different,
right? Maybe an effect, a physical effect. Maybe something has to do, like you said, with music. Maybe it involves another person that is not part of your partnership.
Yeah.
Maybe you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just all I'm saying is, just look outside the box a little bit.
Creative.
Just look outside the box, And
3 years old.
Yeah, I don't recommend a 19-minute show. It's tough as shit.
Yeah.
It's like CrossFit for dancing.
Got it.
So I would say that, and I usually don't see enough effort.
Yeah.
I see nice dancing.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of effort. So
fantastic.
And what was the second question?
Last question of the podcast. And listen, it has been quite a journey. I learned more about you that I knew before. We started in
Ukraine in 1980s, right? When I'm born.
Exactly.
Look, we made it all the way to Los Angeles.
And you were an embryo.
When I was an embryo, that's where we started, and we ended with LA Dance Camp.
Exactly.
I'm 41 years old.
Yep.
I've been here for 30 years.
And this is what the question is about. What are the lessons that you've learned? Life lessons that you've learned following your passion, as we started out the episode or the podcast. From dancing, from your interactions, from your journey, from the partnerships, from what did you learn for life, or what is kind of the similarities with life from your dancing? What is the lessons that you learned?
I think a lot of similarities is that regardless of how things happen in the moment that they happen, at the end of the day, things were going to happen the way they were going to happen. So, like for example, I'm married now for the third time, and hopefully my last.
Third time?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me about the second wife or the first wife.
That's another podcast,
Oh shit! Okay, he is like, I'm mysterious, bitches.
So what I'm saying to you is, it's not a negative or positive, whatever. But I'm saying to you that it the right person for me, obviously now, is the one I currently have in my personal life. Tatiana was also not my first partner, so one of the best partnerships I had in my career was my last partnership.
Yeah.
And one of the most rewarding feelings that I have in my dancing is now, because I get to run a camp, or I get to teach people. So you don't really see ultimately where it's going.
Yep.
But I think I was listening to a speech a long time ago by what's his name? The Apple
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. And Steve had this speech, and in the speech he says, you can only connect the dots backwards. So, meaning how things happen.
Yeah.
You can't connect them forward because you don't know where the next dot is going to be. But he said, if you look back, that's the only way you can connect them. So you really only find out afterwards how it all worked out. So to answer the question, I would say that the earlier you understand that things are going to happen a certain way, the more you just chill and focus on the things you are passionate about, and it'll work itself out one way or another.
Yeah. But would you say, is it okay? You have something, you have your passion, you follow it,
Yeah.
and then something happen and you cannot do it anymore.
You have to find something else.
Hmm.
You have to replace it, I feel, with something else. And
no, my question is, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but okay, you cannot do it anymore, but you want to pursue it.
Right.
Would you still push for it, or you just leave it there, or what would be your approach?
I think if you pursue it, you're going to be grinding it a bit because you for some reason can no longer do it.
Yeah.
But your desire is to do it, so there's a conflict.
Yep.
And you can do that, but it's gonna have the energy of resistance.
Yeah.
And then you could still do it, but you have a negative delivery.
Reverb, negative feedback.
Yeah. So like I said, if I don't want to dance anymore, but I'm still pushing myself to dance, ultimately if the means are maybe not negative, but if the means have friction, then I think the end will have friction.
Yep.
So that's a conflict, and then you have to say, okay, I can resolve it, I can maintain the conflict, or I can either choose something else that I replace it with, or I somehow kill the desire to do it.
Got it.
I would think, or I can do it. That's the third option, and stay in conflict. And deal with it for the rest of the time that I'm doing it. And I don't know if that's a way to be, but some people love that.
So would you say it's more listening to your intuition, to your inner voice, so to say?
Yeah, more or less, but you have to, sometimes the inner voice is the irritated part of you, the immature part of you, and if you listen to that, then you do some stupid shit and or you make the wrong decisions. So I'm like, there is a line that you're gonna take in life, left, right, straight. I mean, it's happening already.
Yeah.
But I just think that if you asked me 10 years ago, I would say that I'm not sure where I am, or I'm I'm doing my best, but I hope and I wish and and it's all this like nervous, like energy and shit, and now I realize that this is probably, honestly, if you talk about age-wise, this is the shit. 30, 35.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how long this party's gonna last, but I don't know when it just starts to go into depression after this. But
oh shit!
But I'm hoping that it's just the creative
then you
part.
buy Ferrari.
Yeah, red one. That's it. That's it. I'm not there yet. I just think that I feel like I'm peaking as an artist, or I've peaked already as a dancer, I feel, but it transitions to something else. But it's rewarding after all the shit you eat along the way, and all the red-eye flights that you take, and the choices you make. They bring you here. I mean, they brought me to the studio to have, you know what I mean? Ultimately, they brought me here.
Yeah.
So listen, one final piece of advice that I was given. The best.
From who? You don't need to say the name. I mean,
right. Just something someone said to me.
Yeah.
He said, some days you're the pigeon, and some days you're the statue.
Let's think about that.
Yeah. So sometimes you take a shit, and sometimes somebody takes a shit on you. And that's the philosophy of life, I guess. I don't know. Some days I'm the statue, and some days I'm the pigeon.
And you came to realize it's like that throughout.
That was like how I kept it sane through the whole results and dancing. It's like, look, today I win.
Yeah.
So, in a way, symbolically, I'm the pigeon.
The pigeon, yeah.
Yeah. Today I'm the statue. And then just kind of, it's always one or the other. But listen, you got to keep it light. You got to keep it light, because
don't be too serious.
I mean, listen.
Too cramped up, I guess.
Yeah. It's
the natural flow of energy.
A lot of shit is out of your hands anyway. So it's like, calm down and if we talk about dancing, because we talk about dancing a lot, all these results at the end of the day are hardly important. They're important to you.
Yep.
At the time,
Yeah.
But when you're 60 and you have gray hair and a gut and you're judging, do you think it matters?
Well, I mean, if you have, the world champion titles and you coach, it's kind of helps you a little bit.
You still have to wipe your ass at the end of the day.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I understand that. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? You still, if you and I, and we're, let's say you and I are world champions or whatever, we're sitting here and we're like, like Blackpool champions or whatever. And when you and I walk into CVS pharmacy to buy some gum,
nobody fucking cares.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Just some fucking guy in Prada sneakers or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gives a shit. The normal people, we're nobody. So when we think we're somebody in our little
bubble,
just
ballroom bubble,
I would remind ourselves that the bubble is fairly small.
Yeah.
It's worldwide, but look how many names you know. You probably know 80% of the dancers that dance.
Yep.
So we know almost everybody, and it's not that important. This is important. This is important.
Why so?
Well, to talk about it, to share time and opinions, and for other people to maybe either agree or disagree with it, to get them thinking.
No, even to give your point of view, how you see things, might trigger some things in other people, students, coaches, even, I don't know, whoever.
For sure. How do you, or nobody. Or this is just bullshit, and we're just having a cup of coffee
and conversation.
In the morning, and that's really all it is. Then
we should have whiskey.
We'll start next time.
Yeah,
with a whiskey podcast
and cigar,
sponsored by Jack Daniels.
At your house.
At my house.
At your villa.
Exactly.
All right, man. Hey, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Pleasure was all mine.
We did over 2 hours as usual. So
nice.
And it flowed very, very nicely.
Like really good wine.
Yeah.
It just flowed. It was a
awesome,
pleasure.
Man.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with your camp.
I
would do my best to put it together and put it before your camp.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So thanks, Mike.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
It was always a pleasure.
Thank you very much for watching. This is Dance Art in Life podcast. It always was, is, and will be a judgment-free zone, as you saw. And I'm your host, Danya the Gypsy. See you next time. Bye.